about when the people of Israel leave Egypt.
Tad ir Bībelē stāsts, kad izrēlieši atstāja Eģipti.
And they were crossing the Red Sea.
Viņi gāja cauri sarkanajai jūrai.
And there was these two guys talking between each other.
Bija šie divi cilvēki, kur runā savā starpā.
They were looking down.
Viņi skatījās uz leju.
And complaining how all the mud was getting inside their sandals.
Un viņi sūdzēs, kā viss šie smilts durvi viņiem zažulēs.
And how disgusting was to walk through this.
Jā, viņi domā, kā mēs varam to iet.
And talking between each other. Can you believe this situation that we need to live now? Need to walk through the desert with the muddy feet. Because they were focusing on their feet. And they were missing the huge two walls beside them. And the miracle that God was doing. And the deliverance from slavery. But sometimes work like this with us. Where we focus our eyes is where we pay attention. And sometimes it's really easy to miss everything that is going around. That's why I want to talk with you about the full picture. Sometimes we see a small piece, and we are missing the full picture. And sometimes it's really hard to look globally our life. And where we focus our eyes is what we understand that is happening. And sometimes it doesn't matter what is truly happening. We cannot understand it. We cannot see it. Sometimes huge things are happening in our life. And it's like we are looking to another place. Happen a lot with social media. Maybe you can post a picture of yourself and have 300 good comments. But you can have one really mean. And it's really easy to focus in that mean comment. This is what people are thinking about that. And we don't see all the other good, positive feedbacks that we are having. But sometimes doesn't matter what happened. What matters is how we understand that. And even when good things are happening, if we are not able to understand that, maybe we are going to be miserable. Because we cannot see what is truly happening. Because it's hard to understand or focus in the right things. In a bad way, sometimes many people try to use this in their favor. Doesn't matter what I do. The important thing is how I tell the story. So I will control the understanding of this situation. So some politics can do really bad things, and they can try to sell as good things. But it's not what is truly happening. But they try to control how the people understand things. But let's try to think in a good way to see this.
Bet centīsim skatīties kā no labās puses, kā to saprast.
And it's in the message of the gospel.
Un tas ir evaņģēlija vēsts.
Why I tell that this related what we are talking?
Kāpēc es saku, tas ir saistīts ar to, par ko mēs runājam?
Because when we are reading the gospels,
Kad mēs lasām evaņģēlijas,
we are not only reading the story of Jesus.
Mēs nelasām tikai Jēzus stāstu.
We are not reading only what he did or what he teaches.
Mēs nelasām tikai to, ko viņš darīja vai ko viņš mācīja.
We are also reading our story.
Mēs arī lasām savu stāstu.
How he understands my life.
Kā viņš saprot manu
What
dzīvi.
he is expecting from me.
Ko viņš sagaida no manis.
What would Jesus thought about me?
Ko Jēzus domā par mani.
And when we start to walk with Jesus, when we start to grow in our Christian life,
Kad mēs sākam staigāt ar Jēzu, mēs sākam pieaugt kristiešu dzīvē.
we start to change the way we understand things.
Mēs sākam mainīt veidu, kā mēs saprotam lietas.
We start to change the way we see things.
Mēs sākam mainīt veidu, kā mēs redzam lietas.
So, what God gives us when we accept Him
Tad, ko Dievs mums dara, kad Dievs mums pieņēma?
is a new way to understand life.
Ir jauns veids, kā saprast dzīvi.
It's like He gives us new eyes.
Tas ir tā kā viņš mums iedeva jaunas acis.
And maybe we start to discover things for first time.
Un varbūt mēs sākam meklēt kaut kādas lietas tā kā pirmo reizi.
And maybe always have been there.
Un viņas varbūt jau ir vienmēr bijušas.
But just now we are able to see it.
Bet tikai tagad mēs esam spējīgi redzēt.
And this is the question.
Un šis ir jautājums.
What God think about us?
Ko Dievs domā par mums?
When God watch my life,
Kad Dievs skatās manu dzīvi,
what is He thinking?
ko viņš domā?
Is He pleased?
Vai viņam tas ir patīkami?
He regret?
Vai viņš nožēlo?
He's disappointed?
Vai viņš ir vīlies?
And the thing is, I have some ideas.
Un ir tā, ka man ir kaut kāds idejas.
For sure God is thinking this.
Dievs noteikti domā šo.
For sure God is feeling this about me.
Noteikti Dievs jau lūk šo par mani.
I'm not always right.
Un nevienmēr man ir taisnība.
There is a story. This happened 3,000 years ago.
Ir stāsts. Šis stāsts man ir 3000 gadus atpakaļ.
And we can find this story in the book of 2 Samuel,
Mēs to varam atrast 2. Samuēla grāmatā,
chapter 23.
23. nodaļa.
And in this part of the Bible,
Un šajā Bībeles daļā
the author is telling the story of the David's mighty warriors.
Tiek stāstīts par šiem varenajiem kareiviem.
There were a few people around the King David.
Tad bija pāris cilvēki, kur bija ap ķēniņu Dāvidu.
Actually, before he became king.
Pirms viņš kļuva par ķēniņu.
And they were like really brave, mighty warriors.
Un viņi bija ļoti spēcīgi vareni kareivi.
So he's telling the story of this guy who take a bone, and with this bone he killed 300 people.
Un tur stāsta par šo cilvēku, kurš paņēma kaulu un ar šo kaulu uzveic 300 cilvēku.
This other guy who defend a city.
Tad cits, kurš aizsargāja pilsētu.
But at some point start to tell a really weird story.
Bet vienam mirkli sāk stāstīt par diezgan dīvainu stāstu.
And I want to read this story.
Un es gribu izlasīt šo stāstu.
It's in the book 2 Samuel chapter 23.
2. Samuēla 23. nodaļa.
Verse 13 till 17.
No 13. līdz 17. pantam.
So I will read one verse and one verse.
Yeah.
Once during the harvest, when David was at the cave of Adullam, the Philistine army was camped in the valley of Rephaim.
Reiz šie 3 no 30 varoņiem ieradās pļaujas laikā pie Dāvida Adulamas alā. Un tādā pašā laikā filistiešu pulki bija uzcēluši savus teltis Refaima līdzenumā.
The three who were among the 30, an elite group amongst the big fighting men, went down to meet him there.
Dāvids tolaik atradās kalnos nocietinātā vietā, bet filistiešu karavīri bija novietoti Bētlemē.
David was staying at the stronghold at that time, and the Philistine detachment had occupied the town of Bethlehem.
Jā, es tikko to izlasīju.
You already read that?
Jā.
Okay. David remarked longing to his men, "Oh, how I would love some of that good water from the well by the gate of Bethlehem."
Un Dāvidam bija ienākus prātā pārgalīga doma, un viņš sacīja, kas man atnesīs ūdeni no tās akas, kur atrodas Bētlemē pie pilsētas vārtiem.
So the three broke through the Philistine lines, drew some water from the well by the gate of Bethlehem, and brought it back to David.
Tad šie trīs varonīgie vīri izlauzās caur filistiešu nometnē, pasmēla ūdeni no akas Bētlemē pie vārtiem un atnesa to Dāvidam.
But he refused to drink it. Instead, he poured it out as an offering to the Lord.
Bet viņš to negribēja dzert un izlēja kā dzeramo upuri tam kungam.
So what a weird story.
Kas stāsts?
Really weird.
Ļoti dīvains.
We find David saying, "I want some water."
Mēs atradām Dāvidu, kurš saka, es gribu ūdeni.
So these three guys listen the voice of David,
Šie trīs vīri dzird Dāvidu balsi.
and they say, "Let's go
Viņš saka, davai
and bring the
iesim,
water."
atnesīsim viņam ūdeni.
So let's give some context to the story.
Dabūsim kontekstu šim stāstam.
David at that time, the Bible said that he was in a cave,
Tad Bībele saka, ka Dāvids tajā laikā atradās alā.
the Adullam cave.
Šajā Adulamas alā.
What we know about this place?
Ko mēs zinām par šo vietu?
When David was escaping
Kad
for
Dāvids
his life,
bēga, lai glābtu savu dzīvību,
because the King Saul was trying to kill him,
jo ķēniņš Sauls centās viņu nogalināt.
he escaped to this cave.
Viņš aizbēga uz šo alu.
And to this cave, all the people in distress, all the people in debt, all the people who were discontent went to join him.
Bija šie cilvēki, kuri bija kā nebija pieņemti, kur bija atstumti, ja viņiem izdevās uz šo alu, kur Dāvids.
So this was not the best moment in David's life.
Tā nebija labākais mirklis
He
Dāvida
was
dzīvē.
escaping,
Viņš bēga prom,
he was hiding in this cave.
viņš slēpās šajā alā.
He put an army at his disposition
Viņš aplika armiju šai pozīcijā.
of the people who were not allowed in any other place.
Tad cilvēkiem, kuriem nav atļauts būt nevienā citā vietā.
And at some moment, the enemy army was in one city.
Un vienā mirklī ienaidnieku armija bija vienā no pilsētām.
This city was from Israel.
Un šī pilsēta bija no Izraēlas.
So what we know is that the enemy army invaded Israel and they occupied this city.
Tad mēs zinām, ka šī ienaidnieku armija ieņēma Izraēlu un okupēja šo pilsētu.
But was not any city.
Tā nebija kur katra
Was
pilsēta.
Bethlehem.
Tā bija Bētleme.
And was David's city.
Un tā bija Dāvida pilsēta.
When he was thinking about this well at the door of this city,
Kad viņš domā par šo aku, kas bija pie pilsētas vārtiem,
he knew really well this well
viņš ļoti labi zināja šo aku,
because he was a shepherd.
jo viņš bija gans.
When he was a kid taking care of the animals,
Kad viņš bija bērns, viņš rūpējās par dzīvniekiem.
probably many times he went to this well to give water to the animals.
Viņš bieži devās uz šo aku, lai dotu dzert dzīvniekiem.
It was a familiar place for him.
Tā bija ļoti zināma vieta priekš viņu.
Maybe a place who remind him simpler times,
Varbūt vieta, kas atgādina viņam par vieglākiem laikiem.
when his only concern was to take care of the animals.
Ka vienīgais, par ko viņam vajadzēja razēties, tas bija par dzīvniekiem.
Now the situation was very different.
Tagad situācija bija ļoti atšķirīga no tā, kas bija agrāk.
Escaping for his life,
Tad viņš bēga, lai glābtu savu
with an enemy
dzīvību.
army invading the country.
Ja, tad viņš bija ar savu armiju nonāka pilsētā.
So probably when David exclaimed out loud, "I really want to drink of that water.
Un kad dēls vienkārši ļoti skaidri pazina, ka viņš ļoti vēlēs dzert šo ūdeni no šīs akas.
Maybe he was not thirsty.
Varbūt viņš nebija izslāpis.
Maybe he was longing for this time when everything was simple.
Varbūt viņš ilgi pēc šī laika, ja, kā agrāk bija.
Maybe sometimes we can see an old picture and say, oh, was so easy my life in this time.
Varbūt mēs apskatām kaut bērnis bildi, man dzīve tu bija tik vienkārši.
Without all the complications.
Bez
that I
jebkādiem
can have.
sarežģījumiem.
So he exclaimed, I really want to drink that
Un viņš
water.
vienkārši pateica, ka viņš vēlās dzert šo ūdeni.
So these three guys listened.
Un šeit trīs vīri klausās.
It's not that David asked them, bring me water.
Nav tā, ka Dāvis viņiem prasīja atnesiet man ūdeni.
But they listened what David was longing for.
Bet viņi klausies to, pēc kā Dāvis
And
ilgojās.
they say, let's go, let's bring him this water.
Viņi teica, davai iesim, dabūsim viņam šo ūdeni.
So from Adullam till Bethlehem
Tad no Adulamas līdz Betlemei
were approximately 25 kilometers.
ir aptuveni 25 kilometri.
So these three crazy guys
Tad šeit trīs trakie vīri
start to run 25 kilometers
sāk skriet šo 25
to
kilometrus
this other city.
uz šo citu pilsētu.
I don't know how was the longest distance you have run.
Es nezinu, kā ir lielākā distance, ko jūs esat
Have you
noskrējuši.
ever run 25
Esmu
kilometers?
kādreiz skrējuši 25 kilometrus.
Have you ever walked
Esmu
25
kādreiz
kilometers?
gājuši 25 kilometrus. Yes.
Okay. How many hours take this?
Cik daudz stundas tas jums
A
prasīja?
few at least.
Pāris vismaz.
So this guy walked these 25 kilometers
Tad šie cilvēki gājuši uz 25 kilometrus.
and was like the enemy army there.
Un tur bija ienaidnieku armija.
So they risked their life
Tad viņi riskēja savu
and
dzīvību.
and go through the enemy lines to the well.
Viņi iziet caur šiem ienaidnieku, visām vietām, un tie bija šīs
They
saules.
take some water.
Viņi paņem šo ūdeni.
I don't know how much water,
Es nezinu, cik daudz,
but with this water
bet ar šo ūdeni
they ran back 25 kilometers
viņi
again.
skrien atkal 25 km atpakaļ.
So 50 kilometers running
Tā ir 50 km vienkārši skrienot.
and 25 of them carrying this heavy water.
Un 25 km vienkārši nesot šo ūdeni.
So all, I believe, like dirty, smelly, tired,
Es domāju, ka viņi visi noguruši, smirdīgi vienkārši.
go to David and say like, here is your water.
Un viņi nāk pie Dāvida un saka, šeit ir tavs ūdens.
And what David does,
Un ko Dāvids izdara?
take the water
Viņš paņem ūdeni
and he put it in the ground.
un viņš vienkārši izlaiž viņu.
And that's it then of the story.
Un viss stāsta beigas.
And I try to think about these three guys like, are you kidding me?
Es ceru tam par šiem vīriem, viņi ir tas, tā kā,
Like-
tu joko?
The whole day running,
Visu dienu skrienot.
risking our life
Riskējot ar savu dzīvību.
to bring you this that you tell that you wanted
Lai atnes tev, jo tu teici, ka tu vēlies.
and you are pouring in the ground.
Un tu to vienkārši izlaiž uz zemes.
What a waste.
Kas par izšķērdību?
What is the sense of this?
Kur ir loģika šiem?
Now it's really interesting if we go to the law.
Ir ļoti interesanti, mēs ejam atpakaļ pie bauslības.
In the book of Leviticus, we can find like different kind of rituals and offerings.
Ja es nekļūdos, 3. mūsu grāmatā mēs varam atrast dažādas rituālus, lietas, kas jādara.
Some of them are really like confusing,
Daži no tām ir ļoti tāds...
but one of the offerings was called the drink offering
Bet daži no šiem upuriem tika saukt dzeramais upurs.
and was one offering of worship to God.
Tas bija viens no pielūgsmes veidiem Dievam.
When you recognize that everything you had was given from God
Kad tu apzināsi, ka viss, kas tev ir dots no Dieva,
and you want to thank God and worship
un
God
tu
for
vēlas
His provision,
pateikties un pildu Dievu par viņu,
you can bring some oil, some wine,
tu vari atnest eļļu vai vīnu,
and you will give this to the priest.
un tu to dos priesterim.
And the priest is going to raise this offering
Un priesteris pacel šo upuri,
and is going like to move it this way.
un tā kā viņu kustinās šādi.
And after he's going to pour it into the ground.
Un pēc tam viņš viņu izlaiž zemē.
As an act of worship.
Kā pielūgsmes aktu.
When David was taking this water of these guys,
Kad Dāvis paņēma šo ūdeni no šiem vīriem,
he was not like despise the act they did.
Jā, viņš tā kā nebija tā, ka viņš tā kā noliek to vīru darbību.
It's not like he don't care what they did.
Nav tā, ka viņam nerūpēt, ko viņi darīja,
Was the opposite.
bet gan pretēji.
He told, this thing you did is so precious
Viņš pateica, ka šī lieta, ko jūs darījāt, ir tik dārga,
that I don't deserve to drink it.
ka es neesmu pelnījis, lai to
This
dzertu.
is your blood that I have here.
Tā ir jūsu kā milza, kas man ir šeit.
And it's so valuable
Tā ir tik
So
vērtīga,
precious.
tik dārga,
that only God can receive it.
ka tikai Dievs to drīkst saņemt.
So he poured into the ground,
Tāpēc viņš paņēma un izlaiž to zemē.
like telling, this is holy.
Pasakot, ka šis ir
What you did
svēts.
is precious.
Tas, ko tu izdarīji, tas ir dārgs.
This only belongs to God.
Tas pieder tikai Dievam.
But what two different ways to understand one act.
Lūk, divi dažādi veidi, kā saprast vienu darbību.
David don't care.
Tā
David
nerūpējas.
despised what we did.
Jā, Dāvis kā neņēma vērā, ja kas tika darīts.
Or David values so much
Vai arī
this
Dāvis tik ļoti to
that
novērtēja,
he don't consider himself able to drink it.
ka viņš neskatīja sev par gan vērtīgu, lai dzertu.
There is another story in the book of Matthew,
Ir vēl viens stāsts Mateja evaņģēlijā,
in the chapter 26.
26. nodaļā.
And this story have a woman as a protagonist.
Un šajā stāstā ir sieviete.
In Matthew chapter 26,
Tad Mateja 26,
verse 6 till 13.
no 6. līdz 13. pantam.
Meanwhile, Jesus was in Bethany at the home of Simon, a man who had previously had leprosy.
Bet, kad Jēzus bija Betānijā, spitālīgā Sīmeņa namā,
While he was eating, a woman came with a beautiful alabaster jar of expensive perfume and poured it over his head.
viena sieva piegāja pie viņa. Tai bija akmens trauciņš ar dārgu svaidāmo eļļu, kur tā izlēja viņam uz galvu.
The disciples were indignant when they saw this. What a waste, they say. It could have been sold for a high price and the money given to the poor.
Viņam seža pie galva. Kad mācekļi to redzēja, tie apskaitās un sacīja, kādēļ šī izšķērdība, to varēja dārgi pārdot un naudu izdalīt nabagiem.
But Jesus, aware of this, why criticize this woman for doing such a good thing for me?
Bet ja es to nomainīju sacītiem, kam jūs apgrūtinat šo sievu?
You will always have the poor among you, but you still not always have me.
Viņa pie manis ir padarījusi labu dabu, jo nabagi ir ar vien pie jums, bet es neesmu ar vienu.
She had poured this perfume onto me to prepare my body for burial.
Jo izliedot šo eļļu uz manu miesu, viņa gribējusi man kapam svaidīt.
I tell you the truth, wherever the good news is preached through the world, this woman did will be remembered and discussed.
Patiesi es jums saku, kur vien visā pasaulē sludinā šo evaņģēliju, tur arī sacīs viņai par piemiņu, ko tā ir darījusi.
And it's true because we are remembering.
Un tā ir patiesība, mēs atceramies šo.
So we find this woman with a really expensive perfume.
Tad mēs atrodam šo sievieti ar ļoti dārgu eļļu.
Some scholars say that was 1 year's salary.
Ir daži teologi, kur saka, ka tā bija viens algas, tā kā
So let's say that
viena gada algas.
what you can win in 1 year. And let's say that you win 1,000 euros per month.
Pieņemsim, ja tad jūs visu gadu savu mēnesi
So you have this 12,000 euros expensive
Un
perfume.
tad jums ir šie 12,000 eiro vērtā smarža.
I don't know, there are such kind of perfumes so expensive.
Es nevaru tik dārgs, tā kā
Maybe.
smaržas.
But imagine that you have 12,000 euros.
Bet iztēloties, jums ir 12,000 eiro vērta.
So she came and break the jar and poured the perfume over
Jā,
Jesus' head.
šīs smaržas. Un ierums viņa paņem vienkārši saplēš šo trauku un izlaiž to uz galvas.
1 minute, 1 year salary, done.
1 gada alga vienkārši viss.
So all the people in the room start to think like, what a waste.
Un daži cilvēki telpas atrunā, kāda izšķērtība.
We can do so many things with this expensive perfume,
Mēs varējām tik daudz lietas izdarīt šo dārgo smaržu,
but she wasted.
bet viņi vienkārši izšķērdēja.
But it's interesting that was another person in the room
Bet ir interesanti, ka bija vēl viena persona,
who was watching exact the same scene,
kur skatījās tieši to pašu ainu redzēja.
and he understood completely different what was happening.
Un viņš pilnīgi savādāk saprata to, kas notika.
He told, don't bother this woman,
Viņš teica, ka netraucēja šai sievai.
because what she's doing is so precious.
Jo tas, ko viņa dara, ir tik vērtīgs.
It's an act of worship.
Tas ir pielūgsmes akts.
And 2,000 years from now,
Un 2000 gadus līdz šodienai,
in a country named Latvia that you don't know,
valstī, kur sauc Latviju, kur jūs nezināt,
some people will tell this story.
daži cilvēki stāstīs šo stāstu.
That important was his story.
Lūk, cik svarīgs bija šis stāsts.
So he understood completely different.
Tad
what
viņš
was
saprata
happening.
pilnīgi savādāk.
And it's really interesting because this woman was well known at that time,
Ļoti interesanti, šī sieviete bija ļoti pazīstama tajā laikā.
not as a good woman.
Nekā labs sieviete.
She had a reputation.
Viņai bija reputācija.
But today we are remembering her
Bet šodien mēs viņu atceramies.
for his act of worship.
Dēļ viņas pielūgsmes akta.
From this part, this version
No
of her
šīs
story.
daļas, no šiem pantiem.
And maybe the high cost of this perfume is what made the act of worship so valuable.
Un varbūt šī dārgā cena par šīm smaržām ir tas, kas padarīja šo pielūgsmes aktu tik vērtīgu.
If she will take like a cheap perfume,
Ja viņi paņemtu lētās smaržas,
maybe today we're not remembering her.
varbūt šodien mēs viņu neatcerētos.
But what she did was costly.
Bet to, kas bija, tas maksāja.
And she gave it to Jesus.
Un viņi to atdeva Jēzum.
And it's interesting because there are many stories.
Un ir daudz stāstu.
Our life is full of stories.
Mūsu dzīve pilna ar stāstiem.
Good stories, bad stories.
Labiem un sliktiem
And
stāstiem.
I believe that all of us have these kind of stories that we don't like to talk about.
Un es ticu, ka mums visiem ir kaut kāda šāda veida stāsts, par kuriem mums nepatīk runāt.
Maybe we can put all these stories together as our failures.
Un varbūt mēs varam salikt visu šo stāstu kā mūsu kaut kādu izgāšanos.
Things that didn't went well.
Lietas, kuras negāja kā plānots.
Things that didn't reach the port we were expecting.
Ja, lietas, kas nesasniedz to, ko mēs sagaidījām.
And I'm not speaking about when we do bad things and we live the consequences of
Un
these
es nevaru, ka mēs
bad
darām
things.
sliktas lietas, un mēs tagad dzīvojam sakā.
I'm talking about when we honestly, truly pour our heart or our money or our time,
Mēs savu sirdi, laiku vai naudu
and we really expect to accomplish something but didn't happen.
ieliekam, un mēs sagaidām kaut ko sasniegt, bet mums tas neizdodas.
Maybe till today we don't know why.
Varbūt līdz šodien mēs nezinām, kāpēc.
We didn't act wrong,
Mēs nerīkojāmies nepareizi,
but things happen.
bet lietas vienkārši notika.
And it's so heavy to carry all these kind of things.
Un ir ļoti smagi nes visu šīs
Maybe
lietas.
we look back and we
Varbūt mēs
can
saskatāmies
think so much time wasted,
un domājam, tik daudz laika vienkārši izšķērdāt.
so much money wasted,
Tik daudz naudas izšķērdāt.
so much heart wasted.
Tik daudz es savus sirdi esmu izšķērdējis.
And my question today is,
Un mans jautājums jums
How
šodien.
God understands this part of our lives.
Kā Dievs saprot šo mūsu dzīves daļu?
Because for sure, maybe we regret,
Jo pavisam noteikti mēs nožēlojam,
this make us sad.
tas mūs saskumdināja.
Maybe we punish ourselves because of this.
Vai mēs paši sev sodam.
Every time we remember, it's painful again.
Jā, atkal atceros šo sāpīgu notikumu.
Maybe we can think, I deserve bad things in my life because of this.
Un jūs jau varat domāt, ja es esmu pelnījis šīs sliktās lietas dēļ šīs lietas, ko es darīju.
Or I don't deserve good things.
Vai es neesmu pelnījis kaut ko labu.
Maybe if I had taken better decisions,
Vai es būtu veicis labākus lēmumus.
I can deserve some things, but I didn't.
Jā, es varētu kaut kādas lietas dabūt, bet nav.
And this is the thing, we cannot change our past.
Un šī ir tā lieta, mēs nevaram izmainīt savu pagātni.
It's done. It's
Tā ir
there.
beigusies viss.
But maybe
Bet varbūt
we can change the way we understand.
mēs varam mainīt veidu, kā mēs saprotam.
Because for sure we have a way to understand our own life.
Jo, protams, mums ir kaut kāds veids, kā mēs saprotam savu dzīvi.
But my question is what God think about that.
Bet man jautājums, ko Dievs par to domā?
There was this woman breaking perfume and pouring into one guy.
Jā, vai šis ir tiešām saplēs šīs savas mažas un vienkārši izlaiž uz vienu cilvēku?
For some of them in the room was a waste.
Dažiem tajā istabā tā bija izšķērdība.
For Jesus was an act of worship.
Priekš Jēzus tā bija pielūgsmes akts, tas bija.
And my question is,
Un mans jautājums ir,
I know my life.
es zinu savu dzīvi,
I know what I did.
es zinu, ko es izdarīju,
But I understanding right.
But it's-
I have the right understanding
jā,
of
bet
my
man ir
life.
šī pareizā sapratne.
And today I don't want to talk too much longer.
Un šodien es negribu vairāk runāt.
But for sure, I want to see my life as God see my life.
Bet pavisam noteikti es gribu redzēt dzīvi tā, kā Dievs redz manu dzīvi.
And maybe all these heavy burdens that I have carried,
Varbūt viss šīs smagās nesas, ko es esmu
all
nesis,
these failure stories,
viss šī izgāšanās stāsts,
all these things,
viss šīs
sad
lietas,
things,
šīs skumīgās lietas,
all this time wasted,
viss šīs laika
all
izšķērdēšanas,
these feelings wasted.
viss šīs sajūtas, kas ir vienkārši izšķērdētas.
Maybe I can bring to God
Varbūt es varu tās nest Dievam
and tell him, okay, this is what I have.
un teikt, labi, šis ir tas, kas man ir.
This is my life.
Šī ir mana dzīve.
It's not really pretty,
Nav īpaši skaista,
but maybe God can say, oh, I see it, and for me it's really precious.
bet Dievs var teikt, wow, bet es redzu, un priekš mani tā ir ļoti dārga.
Maybe we can resignificate all these things
Varbūt mēs varam tā kā visu šīs lietas tā kā
and make them an act of worship to God.
un padarīt to par pielūgsmes aktu Dievam.
One way to take care of our heart
Viens no vien, kā var parūpēties par savu sirdi,
is see our life as God sees our life.
ir redzēt savu dzīvi tā, kā redz to Dievs.
And one way to do that
Un viss, kā to darīt,
is to allow God to retell our story.
ir ļaut Dievam pārveidot, pārstāstīt mūsu stāstu.
Because it's not that one day we meet God and we start from that day to walk with God.
Un nav tā, ka mēs vienties satiekamies ar Dievu, un tad no tā mirkļa mēs sākam iet.
God always has been with us.
Dievs vienmēr ir bijis ar mums.
Was never some moment of our life,
Nav nekad bijis kāds mirklis mūsu dzīvē.
even when we were running away,
Pat tad, kad mēs bēgām prom,
when God was not there.
kad Dieva tur nebija.
He brings us till this point.
Viņš mūs atved līdz šim mirklim.
And maybe
Un varbūt,
we have understood wrong our own life.
varbūt mēs esam nepareizi sapratuši paši savu dzīvi.
And maybe what we see as a failure,
Varbūt to, ko mēs redzam kā izgāšanos,
He sees as an act of worship.
viņš to redz kā pielūgsmes aktu.
Maybe what we see as a waste,
Varbūt to, ko mēs redzam kā izšķērdēšanu,
He sees as something precious.
viņš redz to kā kaut ko dārgu.
So what we can do today
Tad tas, ko mēs varam šodien darīt,
is to take all these broken pieces we have
ir paņemt visus šos salauztos gabalus, kas mums ir,
and give us as an offering to God.
un dot to Dievam kā upuri.
And allow Him to tell us our own story.
Un ļauj Dievam pastāstīt mums pašam mūsu stāstu.
For sure, I believe that it's a better story.
Es esmu pavisam droši, ka tas ir daudz labāks stāsts.
So we will take a personal time now
Mēs tagad paņemsim vienkārši personīgu laiku,
to pray,
lai lūgtu.
to pray along with God.
Lai lūgtu vienatnē Dievu.
And maybe tell Him,
Varbūt pateikt viņam,
this happened to me, this is my story, this is my failure.
lūk, šis ir man notiks, šis ir man stāsts, šī man izgāšanās.
I don't know what to do with all of these
Es
things.
nezinu, ko darīt ar visām šīm lietām.
I cannot keep carrying these things, they are too heavy.
Es nevaru vairāk ne šīs lietas, viņas pārāk smagas.
So I will give it to you,
Tāpēc es tās atdodu tev.
and let's see what happens.
Un redzēsim, kas notiek.
Let's pray.
Lūks.